My name is Alex. When I arrived in the United States, I never imagined that my first real job here would be at a warehouse. But life has its own plans, especially when you start from zero in a new country. The warehouse was located on the edge of a small industrial town in Ohio. Every morning, dozens of cars filled the parking lot before sunrise. People from different countries walked toward the same gray building, carrying coffee cups and quiet hopes for a better future. On my first day, I arrived 30 minutes early. I didn't want to be late. In America, being on time is not optional, it's a rule. Inside, the air smelled like cardboard, plastic, and machine oil. The building was huge. Tall metal shelves reached almost to the ceiling, filled with boxes of all sizes. Forklifts moved fast, their beeping sounds echoing through the space. "New hire?" a man asked me at the entrance. "Yes," I answered, trying to sound confident. "Orientation room, door on the left," he said without looking up. The orientation room was simple. Plastic chairs, a long table, and a TV on the wall. About 15 people were already sitting there. Some looked nervous, some tired, some completely calm, like this was just another job in a long list of jobs. A woman named Karen, the shift supervisor, entered the room. "Good morning, everyone," she said loudly. "Welcome to Horizon Logistics Warehouse. If you're here, it means you're ready to work. This job is not easy, but it's honest, and it pays on time," she explained the rules. "Safety comes first, no phone on the floor. Be respectful, work as a team." Then she talked about the shifts, overtime, and bonuses for good performance. My ears focused on one thing: overtime. Extra hours meant extra money, and extra money meant stability. After orientation, we received our badges, gloves, and safety vests. "Follow me," Karen said. The warehouse floor was louder than I expected. Conveyor belts moved nonstop. Workers scanned boxes, lifted packages, and wrapped pallets in plastic. Everything had a rhythm, like a machine made of people. I was assigned to picking. A tall guy named Mike became my trainer. He was in his early 30s, with tattoos on his arms and a calm voice. "Don't rush," Mike said. "Speed comes later. First, learn how to do it right." He showed me how to read the scanner, find the correct location, and place the item in the bin. At first, my hands were slow. The scanner beeped loudly every time I made a mistake. My heart jumped with every error. "It's okay," Mike said. "Everyone messes up on day one." By lunchtime, my back already hurt. I sat at a long table in the break room, eating a sandwich I had made at home. Around me, people spoke Spanish, English, Ukrainian, Polish, and languages I didn't recognize. I realized something important. Everyone here had a story. Everyone had left something behind. When the shift ended, I walked out of the warehouse exhausted, but proud. I had survived my first day. As I sat in my car, I looked at the building one more time. This warehouse was not my dream, but it was my start. The second week at the warehouse felt completely different from the first day. The excitement was gone. Now there was only routine. Every morning, my alarm rang at 4:45 a.m. I dressed in the dark, drank cheap coffee, and drove through empty streets. The warehouse lights were always on, like the building never slept. At first, I worked 5 days a week. By the third week, overtime became normal. "Can you stay 2 more hours?" Karen asked one evening. I wanted to say no. My body was tired, my feet were burning, and my hands were sore. But I thought about rent, food, and bills. "Yes," I said. Those 2 hours turned into 4. The work was simple, but heavy. Lift, scan, place, repeat, hundreds of times per shift. Some boxes were light. Others felt like they were filled with stones. My shoulders ached, and my back tightened with every movement. Mike was no longer next to me. I was on my own now. "Keep your rate up," a team lead named Jason said as he walked by. "You're a little slow today." I nodded and worked faster. That was when the first problem happened. I scanned a box, grabbed the wrong item, and placed it in the bin. The scanner stayed silent. No beep. I didn't notice the mistake. 2 hours later, Jason stopped at my station. "Alex," he said seriously, "you had a miss pick." My stomach dropped. "A what?" I asked. "A wrong item." It stops the whole chain. Packing, shipping, everything, he explained. I'm sorry, I said quickly, it won't happen again. Jason looked at me for a moment. Just be careful. Too many mistakes, and we have a problem. That night, I drove home in silence. I kept thinking, what if I lose this job? The next day, I worked slower but cleaner. No mistakes, my rate dropped. Speed matters, Jason reminded me, so did accuracy. Finding the balance was the hardest part. In the break room, I started talking more with coworkers. There was Luis from Mexico, who worked 2 jobs, Anna from Ukraine, who sent money home. Derek, an American guy who had been in the warehouse for 10 years. You either get used to it, Derek said, or you leave. Why did you stay? I asked. He smiled. Because it pays the bills, and sometimes that's enough. One evening, an argument broke out on the floor. A forklift driver almost hit a picker. Watch where you're going. The picker yelled. The supervisor arrived fast. Everyone calmed down. Karen said, safety first. It was clear, one mistake here could cause real injury. By the end of the month, my body changed. My hands grew rough. My legs felt stronger. The pain became familiar, but mentally, the job was heavy. Numbers followed me everywhere. Rate, hours, overtime, paycheck. One Friday, Karen called me into her office. My heart raced. You're improving, she said. Your accuracy is good. Keep working on speed. Relief washed over me. That weekend, I slept more than I had in years. On Monday morning, when I put on my safety vest, I realized something. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was becoming part of the system. After 2 months at the warehouse, Karen offered me something new. We need people for the night shift, she said. The pay is higher. Are you interested? Higher pay. That was all I needed to hear. Yes, I answered without hesitation. The night shift started at 6 p.m. and ended at 4:30 a.m. The warehouse felt different at night. Quieter, darker, more serious, fewer people, fewer supervisors, and more responsibility. On my first night, the air felt heavier. The light seemed brighter against the darkness outside. Coffee became a necessity, not a habit. Most of the night workers were experienced. They moved fast and spoke less. There was no small talk, only focus. I was assigned to packing this time. My job was to pack orders correctly, seal the boxes, and send them down the conveyor belt. Simple on paper, dangerous if done wrong. If you miss something, the customer gets the problem, said Rachel, the night supervisor, and then we hear about it. The first few nights were hard. My body wanted to sleep. My mind felt slow around 3 a.m. That was when mistakes happened. One night, a new guy named Tom fell asleep standing up during break. You good, man? I asked. Yeah, he lied, rubbing his eyes. Just tired. We all were. 2 weeks into the night shift, something unexpected happened. Rachel called me over. Alex, we need a temporary line lead tonight. Just help guide the team and report problems. My heart skipped. Me, I asked. You're reliable, she said, and you don't panic. I agreed. That night, I wasn't just packing boxes. I was watching people, machines, and time. Around 2:15 a.m. a conveyor belt stopped suddenly. Boxes piled up fast. Shut it down, I yelled. A jam. If the belt restarted with boxes stuck inside, it could break or hurt someone. Maintenance was slow. The pressure was high. Rachel looked at me. Good call, she said. We fixed the jam safely, but production was behind. Everyone worked faster to catch up. Then came the incident. A heavy box fell from the top of a pallet and hit the floor, barely missing Tom's foot. The sound echoed through the warehouse. Everyone froze. If that box had landed a little closer, Tom could have been seriously injured. I reported it immediately. Some workers looked annoyed. We're already behind, one of them whispered. Why make it worse? But safety was safety. Rachel backed me up. You did the right thing, she said. That morning, as the sun rose, I walked out of the warehouse exhausted but alert. My hands were shaking slightly, not from fear, but from adrenaline. A week later, Karen called me into the office again. We reviewed your performance, she said. We want to make you a permanent line lead. More responsibility, more pressure, more money. I thought about my first day, how lost I had felt. How scared I was to make a mistake. I accept, I said. That night, wearing the same safety vest, the warehouse felt smaller. I understood it now. But with understanding came a question I couldn't ignore anymore. How long do I want to stay here? Being a line lead changed everything. I was still doing physical work, but now I was also responsible for people. Their speed, their mistakes, their safety, all of it came back to me. Some workers respected me. Others didn't. You're not a real supervisor, one guy named Mark said once. Just another worker with extra stress. I ignored it. On the night shift, pressure came from every direction. Rachel wanted numbers. Karen wanted clean reports. Workers wanted breaks and understanding. One night, the system went down. Scanners stopped working. The screen froze. Orders backed up fast. Rachel's voice came over the radio. We can't stop production completely. Do what you can. But without scanners, accuracy was impossible. I made a decision. Slow everything down, I told the team. Manual checks only. People complained. We'll miss rate. We'll get written up. I knew that was possible, but sending wrong orders would hurt customers, and the team later. When the system came back online, we were behind. The next morning, Karen was waiting. You missed target by 15%, she said coldly. I protected accuracy and safety, I replied. She looked at the report. Corporate doesn't like excuses. That sentence stayed with me all day. A week later, Mark made a serious mistake. He stacked a pallet wrong. Boxes leaned dangerously. I told him to fix it. Mind your own business, he said. Minutes later, the pallet collapsed. No one was hurt, this time. Karen arrived fast. What happened? She demanded. I explained. Mark crossed his arms. He never told me anything. It was a lie. But there were no cameras in that aisle. Karen sighed. Both of you. Office. Inside. The decision was made quickly. Alex, as a lead, you're responsible, she said. You should have handled it better. I was written up. Mark wasn't. That was the moment something broke inside me. Not anger. Disappointment. I realized the truth. Responsibility was real. Protection was not. That night, in the break room, Derek sat next to me. They'll take as much as you give, he said quietly, until you stop. I went home and couldn't sleep. I thought about overtime, stress, and the question that had been growing in my mind. Is this my future? The next week, I started doing something dangerous. I planned. I updated my resume. I looked at online courses. I talked to people outside the warehouse. During one shift, Rachel pulled me aside. You're good at this, she said. But you're not happy. She was right. At 3:40 a.m. standing between shelves of endless boxes, I felt it clearly. The warehouse had given me stability. But it was taking my time, my energy, and slowly, my dreams. I decided to leave. Not immediately, but soon. I didn't quit right away. I gave myself a timeline. 3 months, enough time to save money, finish a course, and prepare for the next step. Knowing there was an end changed everything. I worked my shifts calmly. I stopped fighting the system. I did my job well, but no more than that. Mark avoided me after the write-up. Rachel stayed professional. Karen barely spoke to me, and that was fine. During my last month, I started noticing small things. The sound of scanners beeping in the same rhythm. The way dust floated in the light above the shelves. The tired jokes people told at 3 a.m. to stay awake. These details had always been there. I had just been too busy surviving to see them. On my final week, Louise brought donuts. Why today? I asked. He smiled. Because you helped me when I was new. And because good people don't stay here forever. That night, Tom came to me quietly. I'm thinking about leaving too, he said. Seeing you plan. It helped. I realized something then. Even in a warehouse, people watch each other. Courage spreads. My last shift was on a Friday. At 4:15 a.m. Rachel walked up to me. I heard you're leaving, she said. Yes, she nodded. You did the job right. That matters. It was the closest thing to respect I would get there. At 4:30 a.m. The buzzer sounded for the last time. I took off my gloves. I scanned my badge one final time. The light turned green. Outside, the sky was turning pink. I stood in the parking lot longer than usual, listening to the building behind me, forklifts, voices, machines. Life continuing. I didn't hate the warehouse. It gave me my first chance in America. It taught me discipline. It showed me my limits. But most importantly, it taught me this: a job can save you, but it should not trap you. I got into my car and drove away as the sun rose. Not rich, not famous, but free and moving forward.